Right, just giving me it's setting up my custom streaming service with Zoom. And all right, meeting is now streamed. Okay, awesome. All right, let me welcome everyone. Hi, Brother Robert. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my second podcast. We have some interesting things prepared for you tonight. I am going to that we're going to share with you. And there's hi Karen, Sister Shanine is going to be doing a live food demonstration. Paula is with us, Robert and Joanne, and hopefully others will either join us shortly or they'll go back later and look at the video, or they'll go straight to YouTube. But just to tell you a little bit about myself, I do have a master's degree in holistic health and wellness. I am a master certified health and wellness coach, and my focus is holistic, complementary alternative medicine. Some want to call it alternative, well, or alternative medicine. I am currently working on my doctorate. And so some of the things that I do is I work with physicians from a teaching perspective, and I also keep the healthcare providers up to date on studies, some of the new trends, the outcomes of studies, what these studies are showing. So those are some of the things that I do in my spare time. Spare time. So anyway, this is what I love doing. I found when I first started working with patients, my clients, what I found that, well, first, let me premise this by saying I do not diagnose or treat illnesses. None of us do that. But however, I partner with you and your physician to help you accomplish the goals that are needed. Or, if you don't have a physician, I partner with my clients and help them, be it families, be it pre-pregnancy. I help you accomplish your health and wellness goals that are needed to reach your uh, desired outcomes. And what I found was that our doctors are very, very good at telling you what to do, but not so much in how to do it. And what I found that with my own clients, they know all this stuff, right? So I educate, I guide, they know the stuff to a certain extent. But what they don't know is how to implement it in their lives. And that's what I enjoy doing, because it's not just a let me tell you what to do principle. And I'm gonna show you a couple of principles that I use personally in my own life, and one that I think is going to be very effective. And you can use these principles in whatever area you want to use them in. However, before we get there, I want to show you two tools that I use, and I share these with my clients. And I can, if I have your email, I can even upload this tool to the chat. Let me share my screen. I would just want to show you how to. Some may already have access to the tool. That's my post. Where is my, let me just, before I go there, let me just make sure I brought it up. I think it's, okay, there we go. Let me go back to Zoom. Who is that? Oh, that's Sister Nicole. Okay. Oh, hold on. I don't know why I'm on double. Okay, turn that off. All right, let's go. Hopefully, I'm back with you. I have all these things. Okay, so let me just share this, and you can use this again for all types of things, but I want you to let me just go over it. I'm going to do a quick share. Oh, where is my tool? I want to share sound. Let me just share my screen, and then I will just go here to get my document. Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see the document that I'm sharing? Can you see my document?
I'm seeing your.
Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay. This is a whole person health index. And how you work this, you can download it. I think I've sent it to a couple of people. I put it in the women's chat. And this is something that you want to first start with. You and this is a way that you can assess where you are with your with health and wellness. And how this works is that hopefully it is pretty intuitive. I've described up here on a rate. So you're going to rate yourself, rate each one of these questions, and be honest with yourself. You don't have to show these to me. Go on, Diane. I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, we're seeing your Google screen, but screensaver, but we're not seeing the document.
You're not seeing my document?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay, so let me stop. Let me try to go back. Okay, so let me share. Maybe I go here. Where's my document? Okay, let me try a different window. Not there, not there. I don't know what that is. Okay, I see what I have to do now. I want to share. Do you see it now? Do you see it now, Diane?
We see
Just
a
a
bar, but we
toolbar.
don't see
Yeah,
a
it's just a tool.
document.
You see a bar, but not the
Yeah,
document.
it
Okay.
looks like it's like your toolbar or something.
Okay. So let me close some of my windows. Maybe this will help. Okay, so if I bring this up, okay, so I am here. Let me just allow Sister Sheila in. It's hard for me to, okay, so let me go try one more time. And I want to share. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can share this way. I want to share. Bring it down. Okay, here we are. I think I've got it now. Now, can you see it?
Yay!
Please.
Yay.
Okay. Yay. Okay. And this is for you to keep personally. If you ever wanted a one-on-one with me, we could discuss it together. But this is something for you don't have to share it with anyone. I will never ask you to share this, not your personal information in this session, but I may ask occasionally, how you're progressing on it so that you can give more of a generic type response. But how this works, you're going to grade, there are 9 questions here. And you're going to grade yourself based upon whether whether it's excellent. You're going to rate yourself whether it's excellent, that should be very good, fair, or poor. And if it's excellent, you want to give let's say this particular question, would you say your health in general is excellent, very good, or fair? If it's excellent, then you want to put a 1 here. If it's poor, you're going to put a 5 here. So at the end, you're going to total each section and that you're going to come up with your grand total. That grand total is going to give you, it should be, you have like 9 questions. So if you rated each question a 5, that would be a total, I think the total amount you could ever have for the 9 questions, the total score would be 45. The goal, so the very initially, you want to do this to establish a baseline. The goal is a couple of things. First of all, based upon your rating, it's going to tell you what some areas you need to focus on. And then as we start focusing on those areas, and how we use this is that every 90 days, we're going to go back and we're going to redo it again. And you should start seeing your score to decrease. If we've set goals for yourself and you're accomplishing those goals, it doesn't matter how much it is decreasing. We should be seeing it decrease. And we don't focus on how much it's decreasing. We're focusing on, if I started my baseline today, if I started at 45 at a total rate, a total score of 45, then in 90 days, I want to at least see 43, right? Because that's progress. We don't count progress by how low you go, but it's just a fact you've made some changes. There have been some changes. Does that make sense? So rate yourself honestly for each one of these questions, get your total score, and then and this is called the whole person health index. In looking at alternative holistic medicine does not look at one aspect. It doesn't look at nutrition. And that's why I incorporate the 8 laws of health. We don't just look at nutrition. We don't just look at exercise. All components are needed for health. Just like, we talk about the commandments over in James that said, if you break one, then then you've broken them all. The same principle is applied to holistic health and wellness. So, and again, that acronym we use for the 8 laws of health is NEWSTART, NEWSTART. Nutrition for N, E, exercise, W, water. Am I getting sufficient amount of water? Am I keeping my body hydrated? S, sunshine. Am I getting my sunshine that I need? And sunshine is not just for vitamin D. Sunshine is also for my mental health as well. So we got the sunshine. T, temperance. Am I being moderate? Last week we looked at what does that mean? That even in good things, I should be temperate, but that temperate in all things, because anything can be, let's say, for instance, I can eat raw nuts. This is just an example. Raw almonds are very good for you. However, if I overeat them, they can also put on the pounds, right? So being temperate in all things, understanding what good nutrition is, it is overabundance of a good thing is not a good nutrition. So T is for temperance. A is for air, breathing, deep breathing, getting out into nature, getting together with my family, with my friends on the Sabbath or whatever day, going for a walk in nature. Nature is recommended because even in nature, you're getting the benefit of exercise, but you're getting the benefit of the environment, which is also conducive to our mental health, as well as exercise is very good for our mental health, relieving stress, stress on my body, mental stress, anguish, anger, all of those things for, getting out into that air. And the last of the NEWSTART acronym is trust. Boy, if I'm stressing, I'm not putting trust in someone. That trust in God as our creator, as our recreator, as our sustainer. Trust is so important. A lot more studies are showing today, which is one of the reasons I really enjoy the missionary ministry, the health ministry volumes. Sister White wrote things or put together things way back when, 1898, when some of these things were written, that science is just now coming up with. They're even finding that when we have gone periods of time with hatred in our heart, unhappiness, that it is causing physical illness. When we've dealt with a lot of trauma that has been unresolved, it brings about physical illness. And I'm not surprised because every aspect of my body, every aspect of everything. That's why the scripture says, I wish above all things that I will prosper and be in good health, even as our soul prosper. So our soul was put up right up there with the health because the whole body, the whole person is important to health and wellness. Any questions so far?
I think you forgot the R, which means rest.
Rest. Oh, I did. Sorry. Rest. Yes. Thank you. Rest. And we're going to talk about rest. And that's why the rest, when we get to the rest, I will get into your circadian rhythm because it's so important. A lot of us do not get that rest. And a lot of us don't even realize there are certain hours of that night that your body and organs are healing. And if we're not getting the rest that we need, meaning that we're not asleep and we're not practicing good, sound, healthy sleep, that our body is not going to be, that's not going to be conducive to healing. That is the important. I've got my nutrition. Think about this. I've got my nutrition. I've got my sunshine. Boy, I'm at the top of my game in my vitamins. Everything is what it should be. But yet I don't get to bed till 11, 12 midnight. Though there are specific times that are, this is what's so magnificent. God designed the body to heal itself, providing we provide it with everything it needs to heal itself. So getting that good night's sleep, meaning getting to bed at a certain time, making sure that all electronics are off. There are no electronics in my room. We're going to talk about some of those things later. And if not, I'll probably put you in contact with someone that can really go into detail with them, like Dr. Neil Netley, who works out of Weimar. That's a Weimar? I think, yeah, Weimar. But anyway, there are things that you can do to make sure that you're getting all of the electronics must be off in order for us to get that deep sound sleep. In fact, studies even showing we need to disengage from our devices at least 2 hours before we go to sleep because of the brain activity and stimulation that it causes. And we'll get to that in more detail later. Okay, so if you will fill this out, if you need it, send me an email. I can go in and send it to you. If you didn't get it, one other tool I want to share with you tonight that is going to be that my clients found very instrumental. And I'm going to share this with you because some of you decided to make changes. You're going to make some changes. Doesn't matter how small or how those changes are. The fact is, well, let me step back. Last week I asked questions. I asked this question. I said, on a scale from 1 to 5, how important is your health? And almost everybody responded with a 5. And then I restated that question a little different. On a scale from 1 to 5, how prepared are you ready to make the changes that needed for your health and wellness? And what I did see, I saw some that said that their health and wellness rated a 5, but when it came to making changes, it was a little lower. And why is that? Why? What is that? And I need you to talk to me a little while. What is the fear in making changes? When someone says, what changes are you ready to make? Are you ready to make? What fear do you experience? And you can put it in the chat. You can come off your speaker and your mic and tell me. I mean, why do you think that we're kind of like, we kind of start disengaging when it's time to make some changes for health and wellness? Anybody?
Sorry, it's Annette. I think it's because maybe some people don't like change and it's uncomfortable. And I think that's one of my main reasons. I like my routine, and it's hard to break those cycles. So even trying sometimes may be discouraging when you can't follow through with your own, with your own changes that you want to make. So that would be for me, at least personally.
Yeah. And there are going to be various reasons. Some people hate change. I have seen, and for some people, change just stress them out because they have to have things. I mean, they're in a certain mode. They have their habits, right? And any deterrent from that habit stress them out. Yeah. This is standard. This is routine. I can't deviate from this. I have to have this process. You're right. And all of that goes back to our mind and to our thinking. However, let me ask, had I said the statement different? Let me reframe that statement, because we're going to talk about how we're going to reframe tonight. What if I said, on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest, how many of you are prepared? Rate yourself, put it in the chat, between 1 and 5, rate how many are prepared to start making changes tonight if making those changes only require that you add something and not take away from it. Do you think there would have been a different response? 5. Yep. Why? Because I changed your perspective. It was the words. I changed. I'm not going to take a lot of us. The very when we hear change, you're about to take away something from me. I can't have that. And even in our daily life, no, I have my schedule set. You're about to change my schedule. You're taking something away from me, right? However, if I said, no, I'm not going to take anything from you, I'm going to add to what you already have. How many more people would be ready to make that change? It's a matter of perspective. And we're going to start looking at, because I can tell you about health and wellness. I can give you all these details, but health and wellness starts in the mind before it starts in the body. Does that make sense? Do you agree or disagree? Okay, I think that's all right. So let me share another tool that I'm going to give you that I have already given some. Let me share. Okay, there I go with sharing. Here we go. Let me know when you start seeing it, when you can see it. You can come off your mic and show me.
Yes, we can see it.
You
I
can see
see
it?
it.
Okay.
It's a new screen now.
Yep. This is new. All right, great. Does everybody see it at the top of this? Is like a table. This is like a spreadsheet. But the table, the first category is thinking characteristics of the unhealthy. Differences, unhealthy thoughts, healthy thoughts. And then we're going to show you what we're going to do with those healthy thoughts. Does everybody see that? Can everybody come off your mic and talk to me? I need you talking to me.
Yes, I see it.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, great.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First, I'm going to give you an example. Oh, I'm so hungry. I'm trying to do this diet. I'm just hungry. I just ate an hour ago and I'm hungry already. Is this an unhealthy thought? What's the characteristic of this type of thinking? Is it unhealthy? Yeah. So much so is that there's probably confusion between me being hungry. So confusion between hunger and a desire to eat. It's not that I'm hungry. It's I desire to eat something. How many are you with me? Do you understand that? That's been me. I'm
Yes.
not hungry. Yeah. Okay. Right. Good. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Some others. Intolerance of hunger. Oh, I can't do this diet. This is just too much. This exercise. I can't exercise like this. I can't do this. All the I can't. Desire for overfullness. No, I need more. I don't feel full, right? Self-deception. Eating as an emotional coping strategy. I hate to say this, but I cried when I found that 99% of my clients fell right here. It was an emotional coping strategy. And then when we get to a point, what I do is that I work with them, but I also refer them to I have a list in the area, and I would like to get a list globally of where, all over the area of doctors, psychiatrists, or, the therapist that I trust, that I know that will work with them in a holistic way. Then the other behavior, beating yourself, demoralization because you put on weight gain. And all the demoralization just causes unhealthy thoughts that leads you back to eating, that leads you back to any unhealthy habit. Then unfairness. Oh, it's so unfair. My husband, Danny, he can eat any and everything all day. He never gains a pound. This is just so unfair, right? Okay. There's a passage that said, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Before we can make any lasting change, how we think has to be changed. And I'm going to give you some, and here I'm just going through some ideas. I actually have spreadsheets or tables or tools that are more specific to what you're dealing with. For instance, my thought, I'm hungry. I just ate. I need to eat. I know I'm not hungry. I just want to eat. The first thing I need to do is recognize that thought is unhealthy. The second thing I need to I need to stop myself from doing, I've got to change that way of thinking. I have to change it, and I have to change it now. What is the difference? So what I want to do, let's take that unhealthy thought. Let me just reframe my words or reframe how I think about that. Here's an alternative way of using it. I just ate dinner half an hour ago, but I'm starving. I have to have a snack. Boy, that's an unhealthy thought. So here's my characteristic. I'm confused, I'm sorry, between hunger and desire. Here's a thought that I'm having. I just ate half an hour ago, but I'm starving. I've got to have a snack. What is my healthy thought about that? What I'm going to do is reframe it. I'm not hungry. I'm just having a craving. I don't need those cookies. Basically what I'm saying, rather than my mind stay here, because if I stay here, I'm going to stay here and end up having that snack. But if I reframe this thought in a more positive way, I'm not hungry. I'm just having a craving. I don't need those cookies. Are you all following the train of thinking?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Another unhealthy thought. I can't, and this is, and what this is an intolerance for hunger. I can't stand being hungry. That's my thought. Oh, I just can't stand. I got the jitters. I can't stand. The first thing I have to do before I give into that thought, I'm going to have to change it. Recognize that thought, and I'm going to have to interrupt that thought. And once I interrupt that thought, I'm going to reframe it. And this is an example. Hunger is mildly uncomfortable, but I can tolerate it. It will go away if I focus on something else, or it'll go away. I'm just going to drink water instead. Are you following me? And with each helpful thought, we have a prayer. There's an associated prayer. For the first one, Jesus, help me to remember that you satisfy me more than the richest foods. Replace my desire to eat right now with a desire for your word. Another alternative, God, you say that for the moment, all discipline seems painful, and I'm hungry right now. Help me to hold fast to the thought that if I don't eat, I will yield the peaceable fruit of righteousness if you train me by it. And we have scriptures. When I first started, and you may not believe this, but when I started going through menopausal, I got up to over 200 pounds. I was 215 and past that, I think. And this is how I know this work. Okay, I may have to stop right here. I think, Sister Shanine, are you about ready to start your demonstration? You can just let me know yes or no. Shanine? Can anybody see and can you tell me if Sister Shanine?
I'm here. Got 2 more minutes.
Okay, okay. Are you about ready?
Be about 5 minutes.
Okay, all right. Give me an example. I'm going to give you an example of Jackie. And we're going to talk about a principle. And I think our topic tonight was pain with pleasure versus pain. And probably if I demonstrate you from my own personal experience, you'll understand it. I was way over 200 pounds. I'd never been over. Yes.
Are you able to see the chat?
Let me go to it. Let me go to the chat. Okay, let's see. 6 new messages. How do you counteract those overeating thoughts? Okay, I'm getting ready to show you. I'm getting ready to demonstrate from my own experience. Some of the counteract is that once I recognize it, I have to vocalize that thought, and I'm going to reframe it to one of the healthier thoughts. But let me put a live situation. I'm going to give you an example of my own personal experience. It was after a Sabbath potluck that my friend, 2 of the sisters at the church took a picture of us. We were all together, and she sent each picture to us on our cell phones. When I opened that picture showed me how much weight I had put on. I didn't even recognize it, but until I saw the picture. I was way over 200 pounds. Never been all of my life. I have been between 130, 135. Menopause and stress and so many other things. And I looked at myself and couldn't believe it. And I thought, no, I've got to stop this. And the reason I stopped this is because in my family, we have had congestive heart failure. We have had cancer. We have had this and we have had that. We have had so many different things. And I had decided for myself, I'm not going down that path. I don't want to take all this medication. I'm not going to do this. And so I had made up in my mind that my life was going to be different than that of my ancestors, of my grandmother, my mother, and generations before me. So I was going to watch my health, and then all of a sudden I am how many pounds overweight? Not just a few, but a lot. I decided that, it's a time I'm going to do this. And I started that Sunday after the Sabbath. And one of my big things here in Kansas City, we have a place called Lamar's Donuts. And it's local to this area. And I have been eating Lamar's Donuts since 1987. And it was
Mercy.
yes, Lamar's Donuts. I'm going to tell you, they are delicious. I mean, you can do with some of these donuts. You can do any other donut. You can do that. Give me some brands of donuts that I've seen. What is that? There was a brand of donut.
Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme.
Kreme.
I used to look at Krispy Kreme and it would do nothing for me, right?
Your Dunkin'
Yes.
Donuts.
Nothing for me.
Mhm.
Nothing for me. I go to work Monday morning. What do they have? They have boxes and boxes and boxes of Lamar's Donuts in the break room. And I'm going to tell you how bad it was. Sitting at my desk working, I felt like I could literally smell those donuts as the persons walked out of that car, came into that building, and before they got on that belt, I could smell the aroma of those Lamar donuts.
Okay.
I could, so much so, this is how bad was it? I could just taste that donut in my mouth. I could just smell them. That smell drew me into the cafeteria, into the break room. Get this. I had worked there for almost 2 years. And this is the first time they'd had not Dunkin', but Lamar's Donuts. They were bringing in Dunkin'. They were bringing in Krispy Kreme. Those were not not triggers for me. They did nothing for me. Oh, I was sitting at that. I could smell. I said, Lord, I know this is second day. Oh, Lord, help me. I'm just sitting there thinking. And I'm going to tell you, I could taste that Lamar's Donuts in my mouth.
It would be worse, and it's worse if they're free.
Yes, it was free. I didn't even have to pay for them. They're free, and they were warm, freshly made. They weren't what they call some of those donuts, over day or day over or some, but they were warm still. And I got up. I got up and I said, if I could just go in the break room and I'll just look at them and smell them, I'll be okay. So I went into the break room and I looked at them. I sat there. Brother Robert, this is on YouTube and it's video. You can look at the rest of it later if you like. And
excellent, thank you.
Yes. And so I'm looking there, I'm salivating, right? Oh Lord. And I thought about this principle. When I was looking at those donuts, I looked at those donuts with pleasure, tasting. And each bite was slow, right? I want to savor all of it. And I recognized this principle. Something came to my mind and said, Jackie, you're looking at that donut with pleasure. You're going to have to reframe. You're going to have to change your perspective of the donut. And I already had in mind how I was going to change it. One of the things that I'd seen on 60 Minutes one night, and I kind of recorded, I watched, it was a double or triple bypass. And when I watched that double or triple bypass, they actually showed going into those arteries, stripping out the fat, right? And I'm going to tell you, as I watched that thing, my body literally hurt. I said, oh, Lord. I said, Lord, but I mean, you have to really watch one. It was surgeons doing it, and they were very successful. And because of that video led me to pain. Right at that moment, I had to feel pain. I had to change my perspective of that donut. So I was looking at those donuts from a pleasure perspective. What I had to do was switch it. When I said, okay, brain, let's switch you. So when I started looking at that donut, I started looking at the fat. I started looking at the frying and how much that donut had retained all of that nasty, filthy oil. And as I looked at it, I started visualizing what that donut was doing to my arteries, what that donut was doing to my blood, what those donuts was doing to my digestive system. And then even to the point, I envisioned myself on that table having a triple or double bypass. Guess what? Exactly, Sister Nicole. So what I did, I'm going to tell you, when I switched from pleasure of that donut to the pain of that donut, I walked out of that room. Why? Now that's me. I can do anything not to be on that operating table with the triple or double bypass. That's me. That's how I function. So we're going to talk about those principles a little later. I need to let, but if you can understand where I'm going from just, yes. So that's the principle of how we have to change our mind. You know, because I'm motivated by pain. Go on.
I'm not seeing the icon to raise my hand because I wanted to do that in a polite way. I really don't like just coming off my mic. But
Okay.
for some weird reason, I'm not seeing the icon to raise my hand. I wanted to ask you this. If you had gone in there and just ate one of the donuts and leave the room, do you think it would have been the same?
I know this. Had I eaten one,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that was so good. You know what? I've eaten one. I've already broke. I may as well just go for it. I've already had that one. I'm going to have two.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that everyone is like that. If you have that type of, if you have enough of self-control, but my thing was this, I didn't even want the one. I'm taking all of this stuff. I'm avoiding all of this stuff. I was taking it out of my diet. I was taking it. And for me to do, I can't do halfway. For me, it's all or none. Some people can do that and do it very well. I'm not one of those people. And especially with something that I enjoy. So for me, and we're going to talk about that principle a little bit more, because the thing is, we're all different, and we're going to have to understand, each one of us, what is your trigger? Is it pleasure or is it pain? And understand how to use it when we need to use it in order to help us change those debilitating behaviors that's preventing us from reaching our goals, whether they're from nutrition, whatever aspect. When it comes to the 8 laws of health, it could be exercising. It could be any of it. We want to be able to change those triggers until I have what? Transformed my mind. What happens now, when I did it enough, my mind became transformed, and the principle automatically kicked in. We don't understand that by habits. When I change a habit, what's going to happen? That habit is going to take control. Either that bad habit or that good habit is in control. The same principle has to do with spiritual. Which were you feeding? My spirit man or my physical man? Whichever one you're feeding is the one that's going to get the attention and the one that's going to take precedence in our lives. Does that make sense? So I just used that same principle with this. And for me, it was none. I didn't want any of it because I saw what it did to my family, the congestive heart failures, just a plethora of illnesses that has to do with lifestyle. Now, do I have to change everything? No, not saying that. But sometimes if I just add one green smoothie to those people, I'm just going to give you one thing to add. Don't take anything away. First thing before you eat anything, take that one green smoothie in the morning. Or how about that one green juice? That's a place to start. So I'm going to stop and thank you, Paula. That was really, thank you for that question. That was really good. So Sister Shanine, I want to turn it over to you so they can see the scrumptious.
I'm trying to figure out how to get my, wait a minute, what do I have to, hold on.
We see you good. We see you well. Does
Okay.
everybody see her full screen?
Okay.
If you click on her name, you'll be able to see her full screen on your image.
Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Okay, so I'm gonna be preparing a jackfruit stew for you today. Okay, what I'm trying to
Sister
do.
Shawnee,
Yes,
can you turn up your volume a little bit?
sure.
Oh, you what? Let me turn up mine.
Okay. I'm
I
trying to
want
see if I
to
can
ask you,
turn
what
my
is
phone
jackfruit?
around.
Yeah.
All right,
What is
so
jackfruit?
it's a fruit that it grows, I believe, in South America. And it is this is so we have different variations. So this can up in this corner here is what the jackfruit actually looks like. Oh, okay. So you can buy it like this, or you don't want to use it from a can. I get it like this. Can you see that? It's called naked jackfruit, and this is all just the meat inside of it. Which at another time we can talk about how you can use the entire fruit, because there's a lot of things that can be done with jackfruit. Okay.
Where do you buy that one in the pack?
I actually have that all written out, and we're gonna add it to I ordered that, I believe, from either Amazon or Walmart, and it's
Okay.
and
All
it's
right.
just all the actual meat. I do tacos, you can make patties with it. When I'm doing the stew, I like to use the one from the can, but I soak it, and you will have all the directions, the whole recipe, because what I do is I soak it in water first, and then I let that sit for about a half an hour, press it out, and then I do it several times just to get out some of the sodium and some of the brine that it's in, that flavor. And I can add a little honey sometimes, or agave, just something just to sweeten it up. And then I go in the last time and I put some liquid smoke. Now, if you don't want that flavor, this is just the way I'm preparing it. So I did add some liquid smoke to the last soaking. Okay. And I'm going to go over, and I'm sorry, I don't know, for some reason I can't turn my camera. I'm trying to turn my camera around and it's not letting me. I've done it before. I don't know why I can't do that. But can you see these ingredients here?
Yes.
Okay, so we have, all right, so the first thing I did is I braised this. I took a little bit of rice flour. I don't use eggs or milk or anything. Put it in there. This is the brown rice flour that I use. It's organic. And I just coated that a little bit. So that's already done. I'm gonna put this over here. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add, now also, I only use avocado oil, high heat, or an extra virgin olive oil, but get a good olive oil, and always in glass. Even the pan I'm using is glass or stainless steel pan. I don't try not to use Teflon. Is that leaches back a lot of toxins in your body. So I love my glass. My glass dishes. It's a very good investment for you. All right, so we're going to start with, I've already actually cooked the carrots because they take the longest to cook. So we're just going to add in, can you see this here on the stove? Can anybody see that?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sauteing your vegetables, Sister Shawnee?
Yes, I'm sauteing the vegetables now. And this is the onions. And I don't cook my vegetables a lot. I do not. I like to just saute them a little bit here. Okay, my little glass dish. All right, and I've already seasoned up my jackfruit and the carrots. And this is a cup. All right, and then we have some celery here. Okay. And then I love lots of garlic. So for me, and you can flavor it any.
Sister Shawnee,
Huh?
we can't see your skillet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your
Hold on.
sauteing skillet. Yeah, there you go.
Right
Okay.
there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you use oil for that, right?
You can use oil, or when I boil the carrot juice, the carrots, sometimes I will take the broth just from the vegetables. For people who don't use oils at all. But yes, I use an avocado oil.
And I just wanted to highlight that there are some people now that cannot do oil, then you can
Right.
use a little water or vegetable broth.
Yeah, you can make your own. Like with all of this, if you would get to steam it a little bit, you don't have to boil it too much, but you can get a nice broth. So I have some carrot broth. Right.
We can't see your skillet again.
How's that?
Can you show us your skillet?
How's that?
There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
that's better.
Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of broth here. This is going to get us going. All righty. Go. Then we're going to add some. These are my flavors. So whatever you like to flavor with, I like to put fresh rosemary, some bay leaves, and some thyme. And then we just let that simmer over there. Now, in the meantime, like I said, this was already prepared here, okay? And then this was already prepared because what I'm gonna do when I'm finished this stew, because I'm trying to cut down on my carbs, either if I have a carb, then it's gonna be a little bit of this brown rice here. You see this raw organic rice?
And it's sprouted.
Yes, that's sprouted brown rice. But also as a thickener, if I want to make this like a nice thick gravy, I am going to use mashed potatoes. Lots of potassium, and I don't have to use all of this, but that's where I'll get my carbs from. Okay. So we're just going to let that simmer. We're going to turn this heat up a little bit more. And you can use
bay leaf. I did see you put a bay leaf in there. And what's the other spring? Is that thyme?
All right, this is thyme, and this is rosemary, and I have some bay. Let me put another bay leaf in there. Okay, I don't use a lot of salt in my food. The celery will give you all the sodium you need.
Yeah.
Let me see now. This jackfruit is only 40 calories in the entire, like I guess for one serving, which is great. 9 carbs, 7 grams of fiber, 0 sugar. You do get 2 grams of protein in here. And of course, our carrots are good for our digestive health. Lots of fiber, beta carotene, magnesium, lutein for your eyes, vitamin B, and 0 cholesterol. There's magnesium, copper, and vitamin A. So we're getting a lot of vitamins in here. And that's why I like to actually, I use very little oil, and I like to simmer it basically. It smells really good in the broth. Like I said, you can either make your own. Sometimes I do a combination of it. And of course, the celery, it has calcium. It's only 3 carbs of the entire dish. It has 3 carbs in it. Calcium, vitamin A, carotene, and phosphorus. A lot of minerals in celery. And then our onions, protein, potassium, vitamin C and K, and 0 cholesterol. And you can get these nutritional values. I will also have other information, but there's it's called urmc.rochester.ed encyclopedia, and that gives you all the nutritional values. You see, it's starting to, yeah, that looks good, smelling good there. So I don't like to overdo my stuff. So I'm gonna add my jackfruit now. Okay.
I have a question about your jackfruit. So is this cooked jackfruit?
Yes, I soaked it and then I braised it. I didn't want to take this. Yeah, I braised it. Yeah.
Could you make the same recipe using fresh jackfruit?
Yes, that would be a demonstration that would take a little longer because I would show you how to cut into it, how to pull it out, and then how to preserve it in jars. I put everything in jars, even if it comes in a plastic. Like this jackfruit's going to come out and go in a big giant jar. So I always tell people, if you can just save your jars at home, like if you get any kind of jar that you might buy some food in, try to save your jars so that you don't have to go and spend a lot of money on that. So now I'm going to add, I want this to thicken up a little, just a little bit, not a whole lot. So this is all I'm just going to put this in. It's kind of
Your mashed potatoes?
Yep, my
And
mashed
that's gonna be your
potatoes.
thickener.
This
Okay.
is my thickener. I'm not using any cornstarch. Everything here is all natural. And this is where I get my carbs from. But even all of this is only 30. Hold on, let me make sure I'm saying this right, because it was very low. I was very surprised at the calorie content of this. And for the potato, there's 10 carbs in this entire, so which is good. And it has a lot of antioxidants. Of course, it's low sodium, but it has 30% of vitamin C for your daily recommended vitamin C, 10% for your B6. So, and it has fiber in it. So this is what I use as a thickener. And I've seasoned this as well. I've seasoned this and the jackfruit already.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm just gonna put that on the side and let that. And what's nice about glass, you can use any type of utensil in here.
Yeah.
Scratching it. I just want to mix some of this up here.
That thyme. I love rosemary and thyme.
Oh, me too. Those are my
Oh.
two favorite. Now, there's a lot of things we can do with this. This is kind of like a base, and if you don't have to put the thyme or the rosemary, because I can take half of this and I can add some curry to my potato, thicken it, and make this curry. I can curry this. Or what I'm going to do today, here's my favorite, is some oxtail sauce. You see that? Yeah. You see that there? And this is also going to give me like
Oxtail sauce.
yes, love it. Now there's no meat in there whatsoever. It's all natural. So you can do that, or you can use curry, or some people want to jerk their. It just depends on what flavors you like. I also have a fajita seasoning over here that I just show you. You know, use fajita seasoning, or you can make your own seasoning from scratch, and that's like a whole tutorial by itself. That's a separate tutorial because there's a lot of ways you can just make your own different flavors.
So you're using herbs to season it to give it
Yes.
that flavor. You have your onions. Yeah.
Yeah. This has nothing. This is completely naked. It has no artificial anything in here.
Okay.
If I want to add the sauce to it, then it's going to have some of the sugars and other things that maybe someone might not.
But you can make your own sauces as well. You know, if you're avoiding sugar, yeah.
Right. So
And now you can get sauces without sugar. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But what we're going to do now is add some amino acids. I'm sorry, some liquid, some amino liquid. You see that?
Uh-huh. Yep.
So I use that as a base a lot of times for some of my dishes. But it's only drop there. And that would give me like a little brown stew.
Oh, to make a gravy, to look like a gravy?
Exactly. I
Okay.
can add my potatoes, the thicker I want, if I want to thicken it up. Or I can do that separately. Sometimes I would just take the potato and put the amino acid right in here and just make the gravy and then add it. But for time's sake, I'm doing it like this, all in one pot. And you see how fast I did that?
I see.
It did not take long. And for me, this will serve at least 2 or 3 people, depending on. And I'm going to serve it over these mixed vegetables. Make sure all.
Is that cooked or uncooked? Those vegetables, they're just vegetables?
They're just steamed. I get steamed it for like maybe 3 minutes, and that's it. They're raw. I don't like to overcook it. And we're basically
let me tell you
done.
let me tell you what I would do with this.
Go ahead.
Vegetables raw.
Yes.
And I would have a big thing of vegetables that's raw, and then quinoa. And I would pour this. This is going to be my sauce over that
quinoa. Yeah.
Yes, over my quinoa and my other raw mixed vegetables. Yeah.
Right.
So this
these are, like I say, I've only kind of just broke it down for like, they look raw because I've only really been steamed for like maybe like say 3 minutes tops. and then I
Yeah.
shut it off, and that's it.
Yeah.
So they still has the vitamin, it's still snappy, still has, snaps. This, you can tell it's not battle green.
Yeah.
Still have
Yeah.
that, but raw,
Yeah.
the more raw you can eat, the better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like variety in mine. Oh, how did I get
Yes.
here?
Oh, you can add all kinds of
I like a
veggies.
variety. I like the colors. So I would
Right.
add the red peppers
Yes.
and the yellow peppers. And I would keep those raw. You'd be surprised
Right.
how
I
much
would add, well,
vitamin.
what I do with those, what I do with that, with the peppers, I'm gonna shut this off now. So I'm gonna shut this off, and then that's it. Because I'm eating this myself, I don't
Huh?
want to put peppers in it just yet. I will add the red peppers, green peppers, yellow peppers, to it, or even some zucchini that I might
Yeah.
steam lightly and add it to it later as I'm
Yeah.
gonna get ready to eat it. Because when I realize I'm going to be storing this, because for me this is about 3 or 4 meals, it gets the peppers seem to get kind of not so happy with mixing with other vegetables.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I just find that it's better to add certain things later on.
Yeah. Yep,
So
you're right.
yeah. And that way you get because the peppers have one of the highest contents of vitamin C. So
Highest, highest. They're more than any highest,
exactly,
especially the red one. And I can just eat it. Yes.
yes, exactly. So on top of this, and this doesn't even have to be hot. I can just let this cool off a little bit, put it on top of here, add my peppers, and I got a really nice, healthy dish there. That doesn't take long at all. Did not take me long to do this. And there you go. And if you want to, you can add more potato and make us like if you really want a thick stew. I mean, like a thick. I'm sorry, gravy. You can make the gravy, separately, and then just add it in there. Okay.
Yeah. Let's
And
see if we have any questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Everybody says it looks good. What is
So
jackfruit?
I'm a little confused because the jackfruit that I know, it can't be cooked. It's something that I take out of the pod and I
Right.
eat the inside
Yes.
as a fruit, and it's sweet.
Yes.
It's
It's very sweet. It's
so
very
I don't
good.
know.
That's
This
another
would be-
class, but there is a way to prepare it fresh like that, to have it so that you can cook it, and make it so you can make, like I say, patties from it. You can do what I just did with the stew.
So you're using the unripened one?
Now this is the young. This is the
Oh, it's young.
yeah. This is the young. Yeah, the organic young one. Exactly.
Okay, so it's not a full-blown jackfruit okay, got it.
Right, but there is a way to do. I've seen it prepared that way, and I've watched people use the entire jackfruit. A lot of people throw away the inside after they take the pods out, but someone would say, no. But there's a whole nother, just a lot of things that you can make prepared to eat that are very nutritional, because that's where a lot of your nutrition is.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we even have a recipe to make meatballs from banana peels. I mean, like, it's just, there's a lot that can be done with the inside skins, where a lot of the vitamins and nutrients are in the food.
I have seen people use jackfruit as a pulled
yes,
pulled
that's what
chicken for sandwiches.
Yes.
I don't eat it I can't eat it because I can only eat it a certain way. And I know that's a mental thing for me.
Right.
But there are a lot of people
Right. A lot of people. And I think once a person tastes it, because sometimes I will make a jackfruit tuna, and I flavor it with nori. I have nori. I take a lot of sea kelp and I grind it up, and I make my own different seasonings for how I want certain things to taste. I even can take hearts of palm and make like a little fish stick out of it.
Yes, those are great. The hearts of palms.
Yes, and I have pictures of way I've done that. I photographed a lot of the food. I've actually made what is this I'm looking at over here? The oxtail out of beans and jackfruit and roll it in rice paper. And there's just a way that it's made to actually look like that and taste like it. It was a great recipe that I followed. It was really good. Of course, I tweaked my own. Each of us.
There are
tweaks our
some
own.
questions as to what does
Okay.
jackfruit taste like?
Jackfruit in the raw tastes like it's sweet, and I would liken that onto it is a very different flavor. It's sweet, first of all, I have to say, not overly sweet, but like a peach, the cross between maybe a peach and as far as flavor is concerned. This jackfruit is going to taste exactly like what I seasoned it, because it's like blank, just like with cauliflower. Like I was trying to choose whether I was going to do cauliflower or even make cabbage patties that are shredded. But the jackfruit will take on the flavor of what I've actually put in there. It'll just
Like
absorb it.
tofu.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost
Right.
like tofu, because it will take on or assume the flavor of your
Right,
of the
exactly. It will be a lot like tofu. It will do that.
What
And it's
about the
very-
texture? What is the texture like?
The texture is just like I would say the texture. Okay, so we're gonna taste this. I know what the texture is like, but the texture, and excuse me, folks, for eating in front of everybody, especially if you're good carrot. No, this
Is it
tastes
good?
is delicious. It tastes exactly like what I seasoned it with.
Yeah. Oh, that looks.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you're enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. And I know you guys are gonna laugh. Tastes like chicken. It has no. It's really good. It has the consistency, or actually the texture of chicken, I would say, or a if anybody's ever eaten some type of stewed beef,
Oh,
but a little firmer, because I don't cook everything down. Like
yeah.
like for instance, my celery is still crunchy.
Yes.
I
I
don't
would
want
want it to be crunchy.
to. So-
And ladies and gentlemen, is that not a face of pleasure? I mean, look at that. No sodium. Look at that pleasure.
No,
And
so
enjoy.
what I like the reason, like I was listening to you talk about having to change, and for me it's I've always cooked, and I cooked everything. I've been in restaurants, I've been on the line, and have had to cook all kinds of meat and all kinds. So I know what a lot of things taste like, and there's certain things like I'm never gonna eat that, but I can smell it, so I can tell what it's gonna taste like by smelling it. For me, it was always about, okay, if I can just get the flavor good, I don't have to mimic. A lot of people say, oh, I gotta have chicken, I gotta have this, I gotta have that. As long as it tastes good and you like it, I'm not looking for, I used to do that, like, oh, I gotta have something, I want some fried chicken. So I did get some beautiful, I'm gonna share these from the farmer's market. I got some beautiful oyster mushrooms.
Oh, wow.
One of my
Oh.
favorite thing in the world. That might be, we might do something with them next time. But
Oh.
this beautiful oyster mushroom is
Interesting.
yeah.
So what do you do with those?
Okay, so there's a lot of things I can do. I can make patties from this. I can eat it
Okay.
raw. Like I can chop this up and add it to what I just had. And then I also, if I'm in the mood for once in a blue moon, I want something that tastes like chicken for real.
Yeah.
But I make or even fish. So I take because this has a flavor of fish, believe it or not. It's like you wouldn't believe it, but it does. And it takes on even more when you add nori to it. And I like I said, I do a lot of different seaweeds, which are really good for you. And I make like my own seasoning, and then I'll saute that, and have a nice crispy, almost we'll call it sauteed. I hate to use the word fried, oyster mushrooms, and it's
Okay.
so good. So I stay away from frying, but you can make that similar to that so that you can have that, and it's so good for you. Mushrooms are like so amazing because you get that protein, which is one thing I found was difficult when I switched over like to being a full-time vegetarian, was that I gotta have more protein, and I mushroomed up. So that's my presentation. I hope you all liked
All
it.
right, well, thank you. If everybody would give her applause, give Sister Shawnee applause in the chat, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Shawnee.
You're
Yes.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to wrap up. I'm going to wrap up just a couple of little things about this pain and pleasure. Let me wrap it up for you here. It's not going to take me long. And
Can I please ask her some, Shawnee?
Yes.
What is your verdict on these grapes that doesn't have seed in them?
I don't like them. I don't like anything that doesn't have a seed in it that should have a seed.
Because every supermarket that we go to in the US, they are overwhelming us with green,
I know.
whatever color grapes with no seed.
Right.
And
It's
you know what I
good
mean?
to-
So I don't understand. And I'm not just asking you, it's just a big general question that I've been waiting to ask from last week.
yeah.
Are we supposed to buy grapes that don't have the seed?
Well, according
I'm
to
gonna
the
let Sister
Bible,
Jackie.
we should
Yeah.
be.
I'm gonna let
They
you
should
answer
be-
that question.
Well, the thing is, they have been changed because we
Yeah,
know
they're
that all grapes
modified. They're modified. Right.
have
So
seed.
I don't buy
they've been-
seedless
And
watermelon.
so it's up. That's an individual, right? I don't like seedless watermelons, and I just leave it up to people. That's your choice. But just so you know that they are not the original. They have been modified because all of these watermelons, grapes they came with seeds. They came seeded.
Right.
You know, and so, and I'm just a proponent like this. Why in order to change, that means that man has put his hands in it. Man has done things to change the chemistry and the breakdown of it. And I myself, anything man has touched has turned out to be a total catastrophe. And for instance, let me give you, I remember when Splenda came out, my husband was just diagnosed with diabetes. Splenda was the thing on the market. Oh, they had all this scientific evidence. The studies, scientific, evidence-based. It was almost 2 years after the fact that they were finding out how much cancer Splenda was causing. But again, the Splenda is not the same thing as grapes, unseeded. If you want to eat them, but for most people, for those that are really from a health message perspective, that is a nature, and we want the whole food. We want the real food, and we want it in the natural form in which it was created in, not the man-made or man-modified form. So again, that's based upon a perspective.
Thank
So
you.
here's a plated dish.
Sister Jackie.
Did you look at your plate? Can you, let's see, let me go back.
I think it should to me, food should be
You gotta see her plate?
and
That's
some people will
good.
put the sauce around it.
Isn't that pretty?
Yep.
I love the color. Now
And
see,
you can
I would add my red peppers, I do the
Yep.
red, yellow, and orange. I would add it here to give color to it. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Okay. Now,
All right, nice. Pauline, your hand is going, Sister Pauline.
Okay, I'm just going to read out of the Word of God what Sister Paula was asking about the seed.
Yep.
And Genesis 1:29, God said, "Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat." So right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, we have a way of knowing how when we go against that, and it may seem perfectly okay, but there usually are outcomes that are not necessarily in our favor. Let me just wrap up real quickly so I can let you go with these two concepts we're talking about. Because tonight we were looking at pleasure versus pain. We saw the beautiful pleasure on Sister Shanine's face as she was eating that delicious food. And we, of course, know when we first make that transition, we may not have that same expression of pleasure, but we will get there. And these are just two things, two keys. There are two forces that control 99% of human behavior. And what those forces are, they're the need to avoid discomfort and pain and the desire to gain happiness or pleasure. Every single thing we do in life, our work, our business, our marriage, our health is motivated by these two powers. The need to avoid discomfort and pain and the desire to gain happiness or pleasure. So if we learn to link massive pain and discomfort to any destructive behavior or emotional pattern, then we will avoid doing it at all costs. And that's exactly what I did when I changed my perception or my thoughts. When I was looking at those donuts, I disassociated with pleasure, and I made that link, or I started associating it with pain, even to the point that I visualized myself on the operating table having a triple bypass or a double bypass, because to me that is pain that I don't want to experience. So we can harness the principle of pain. We can harness the principle of pain or pleasure to change virtually anything in our lives. And I gave you an example how to do that. And for you, it may be different, but as long as you understand the principle, you can start using that principle, applying those principles. And, it may take you a while to get started. Okay, this is what I'm thinking. And I would challenge you, this is what I'm thinking, even if you have to write down something. Well, what is a better way? How can I reframe what I'm thinking into a more positive manner? Well, Jackie, you just finished eating. Drink some water. You really aren't hungry. So we have to take control of our minds. And when I say that, is that the way we take control over it is that we first recognize that it is a self-sabotaging thought. And then we understand what triggered that thought. Then we take that thought and we reframe it to a more positive thought. Then after we reframe it, and you can do that reframing, you can write it down, and we want to end that with a prayer. And that's what those are the tools that I had. Those tools, both documents are in the Women's Mighty Network chat for you to download. When I first got started, I put the documents in my purse. So even when I went somewhere, I could pull out my document. I had my scripture, which is my promise that I'm going to cling to with this. So, and I'm saying in that making change can be challenging, but it is possible. And as you surround your people with your tribe, it makes it easier. And that tribe of encouragement, that tribe of helping, and again, those self-debilitating thoughts, we want to reframe those, because those just to beat us up and all of the, no. Sister Paula, last week, we were talking about goals. It's best to start with one goal or two goals, whatever you think you can handle, but realistic goals. I've seen people just automatically, I want to be a vegetarian. And I tried to stop them. Now for me, I could make the clean cut because I had the principle down. And what happened is that they faltered, and then they had to step back. Well, when it seems to, they couldn't do it, it became very discouraging to them. So, they came back and we talked. I said, you don't have to go cold turkey. There's something simple way to start. Just start with 1 to 2 days without meat. Start slow and work your way up. You can do everything you want. You just don't have to do it at the same time. Go on, Sister Pauline.
Sister Jackie.
Yes.
I have a confession. I failed that goal.
That's okay.
I failed that goal of chocolate the next day. I ate it. Oh, okay.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to reframe that statement. You said I failed that goal. That is the negative. Can you reframe it and make it more positive?
Lord, by the power of the Holy Spirit, I will not fail this goal.
You didn't fail. I think the word fail. I think a better way, I had a very challenging week and I didn't totally fulfill my goal, but you know what? I'm still heading towards it. That's a better way to say it rather than say you failed, because you did not fail, because just the fact that you had a goal that you want to accomplish, that is not failure. So I think that's the word, looking for those negative words, no, reframe it, in a truthful manner. I got busy but you know what? I'm going to pick it up and we're going to start fresh right now today. Yeah. So those are some ways to reframe. Go on, Paula.
So in the document that you have with the positive replacements, did you also recommend scriptures in there with them, or we have to come up with our own scriptures?
You can both, because some of you can come up with your own. Personalize it to yourself because your statements may be different. But yeah. Yep, you can use those passages, or you can come up with your own, whatever works for
So
you.
the document has I wanted to know if the document already have some in there.
Yes, the document I
Okay.
showed is just like it
Thank
is, and it
you.
has a scripture. Yes, it has some passages.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yep. That's a starting point. Sister Pauline, did you have another question?
No, I
right,
didn't.
I'm just-
I
okay.
forgot to lower my hand.
I just want to leave it with a very positive note. Ultimately, we want the changes to last in our life behavior. We must link discomfort and pain to our old behavior. That means we must look at that old behavior that we're trying to change, which we want to link it. We want to link it with pain and discomfort. We don't want to link it to pleasure. We want to link pleasure to our new behavior. And this way, we are conditioning our mind to it until it becomes a permanent part of your nervous system. And this is called changing your neural pathway. It's almost like in music. I repeat and I repeat my lyrics so much that I don't need the words. I've repeated it enough that it has become implanted. It has become imparted in my mind. I can read this and I can sing this entire song without looking for any lyrics. This is the same principle with here, is that we do it often enough that it become a permanent part of our nervous system, and we're actually changing or redeveloping a neural pathway. Scriptures, Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Ephesians 4:23, be renewed in the spirit of your mind. 2 Timothy 1:7, be of a sound mind. And what that God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of what is the scripture? But
of power.
love,
Give you a spirit of power and of
sound
love
mind.
and of a sound
Sound
mind.
mind.
Yes.
Sound mind.
2 Timothy
you look
1:7.
Yes. If you look up that sound mind, if you look up that word in the Greek, because the New Testament was written in the Greek, if you look up that word of sound mind, it literally means self-control. Philippians 2:5, let this mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. So hopefully, as we realize whatever we focus on, happiness and pleasure, or discomfort and pain, is what is going to be most real to us. And so that is just a little nitbit, just a little bit, little taste of this principle as we began to look at some of our changes that we want to make. And hopefully I've given you some principle to start thinking differently about how we're feeling. One of the things I'm going to leave with you, identify that thought, identify what triggered it, and what we want to immediately, don't wait, immediately stop we want to stop that mode of thinking, and we want to change it to a healthier thought. Thank you guys for being here.
So you change it by replacing with a positive sentence, and sometimes you have to speak it out, and then you repeat the scripture behind that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in other words, that's one way to shut off the food noise.
Yes. Yes. And for the behaviors that we have, for those self-sabotaging behaviors, we want to associate those behaviors that we need to change. We want to associate those old self-sabotaging behaviors with pain and discomfort. And that new behavior that's going to replace it, We have to have a new behavior to replace it. Otherwise, we will not replace it. That's the thing about neural pathways, is that that pathway must have a replacer or it must be a brand new. But when you're replacing an old habit, you have to, with that new habit that you're replacing the old habit with, you want to be able to associate pleasure and
Pain. So wait,
we
because
want to be able
this
to.
this I think you wanted to say this, but then there you got a little bit distracted. So with your donut story, right?
Uh-huh.
So you visualize yourself going through this horrible operation, and so right there and then you're like, yep, nope, I don't want this donut. Did
Yes.
you later on substituted something for the donut, or you just kept using that picture, because our minds remember pictures more than anything else? So did you
Right.
keep using that picture every time you had the temptation for the donut? Did you replace with just a picture, or did you have a healthier snack?
I didn't. So I had my food there. So if and so I just saved my food that I had brought to work with me just to eat those. I did not eat in the place of that donut because I have certain times that I would eat, but at lunch, when it was time for lunch, that's when I ate my lunch.
Okay, so then you ignored the snacking. That means you started to eliminate the snacking even
Yes.
from that step.
Yes.
Got
Yeah.
you.
And you don't have to do that. It's what you can do,
Yeah.
but I was really, and you have to understand yourself.
Mm-hmm.
For me, when I see myself laying on the operating, because I know what my fears are. Remember,
Yeah.
I had a mom, I had parents that died from cancer, and my dad actually had stomach cancer. My mother, and all of it could have been avoided. My grandmother she was obese. Both my mother and my grandmother were obese, and my father was too, and their lifestyles, and I didn't want that. So to see myself on that operating table having that triple bypass was more pain. Even just the thought of it was so painful for me. I can go the other direction. For you, it may be different. You just want to understand your triggers and your responses to get the right triggers and responses for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. And as you're talking, I'm visualizing myself in a youthful state with about 20, 30, 40 pounds less. So maybe I need to walk around with a picture like that. Do you understand what I mean? If it's not going to be a pain type
Yes.
of something. I understand what you're saying though, because the mind has to
Okay.
associate and disassociate moving
Right.
forward. I got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. You got it. Yep. Those associations, moving those links to it. Because we have some pleasures linked to those old self-sabotaging behaviors. All right. I hope this has been educational as well as informative to you. I hope it's at least a start to get you started on your health journey of the 8 laws of health. And this is really the 8 laws of health re-imaging. We could talk about the 8 laws of health all day long, but until we have some tools, until we have some principles and some guidelines on implementing these laws, it's going to be difficult, challenging. And that's what I find my clients work when we can come up and when we can come up with a set of tools for each client, and each client is unique. One set of tools may not work for one client. I may need something different. So don't feel like you have to be you're locked into one set of tools. No, we're going to find what works best for you, because that's ultimately that is the key to lasting change. What works for you, keep you in that happy state, something that is sustainable as well. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion. And if you read the women's chat, they put in there, we're starting a campaign for March. As many of you can invite non-Adventists or even none to this podcast. The person that had the most guests, I'm going to start giving away free essential oils kits that come with the diffuser. And I tell you, these things, my essential oils kits have replaced my over-the-counter products. Young Living Essential, my diffusers, the wintertime, the summertime, these, I tell you, this kit in itself is that it is, you can't replace it with, And not only that, I will show you how to use it so that you can replace the over-counter products that you purchase for headaches and some of those other things. Amen.
I'll
With that-
chip in and add something, a price as well for the kitchen, maybe a scale or something that, a digital scale or some type of kitchen utensil to help with the healthy cooking. Chip in, sister. And okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for spending this time with, this is called A Taste of Manna. Jacqueline's A Taste of Manna. And next time I need to give you the definition why A Taste of Manna, and you're going to be blown away. You know, I do this research and I do all of these, you know, I really break these words down and get the root definition and understanding of them. So enjoy, and may God bless you on your way to prospering in health. The word says, I wish above all things that thou shalt prosper and be in good health, even as thy soul prosper. That was in the one sentence. Soul, good health, prosperity. God wants us to prosper. He wants us to have abundant life. And he wants us to use the tools and the resources that he is raising up in the church, you know, to help us with these. Be sure to tune in to I think it's Mental Mondays. And I think Dr. Schwartz has some other things going on Tuesdays sometimes. If you missed it, you can go back and look at the videos. And again, everything there may not be applicable to you. I would suggest if it's just one point, one takeaway. You don't need to do the whole thing. If you can have one takeaway that you can act upon, you're on your way to a better and healthier life. So hopefully I'll see you guys back next week with your guest. Have a good rest of your evening.
You as well. Thank you.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye. Good night. Good night.
Night, night.
Good night. Night, night.
All right.
Good night. Now I have to see, how do I close?